Okay, we're looking now at the grammar notes on pages 327 to 329. Get on to just reviewing what a clause is. Remember that a clause is a group of words that contains at least one subject and a verb showing past, present, or future time. And clauses are either independent or dependent. Independent clauses are also called main clauses. They can stand alone as complete sentences. So here we have two complete sentences. You could win a medal. We'll go to the game. And dependent clauses are also called subordinate clauses because they cannot stand alone. They need another clause to be fully understood. So you could win a gold medal and we'll go to the game are independent clauses. Dependent clauses are if you practice enough, if we get tickets. These are not sentences that make sense on their own. They have to depend on another clause in the sentence in order to make any sense. A dependent clause is also called a subordinate clause or an adverb clause. It cannot stand alone, but it can also be placed at the beginning of a sentence. Okay, so if you practice enough, you could win a gold medal. If we get tickets, we'll go to the game. Let's go back and see what happens to the comma. Here, when I have this if in the middle of the sentence, you could win a gold medal if you practice enough, or we'll go to the game if we can get tickets. I don't put any comma to combine them. But if I put the dependent clause or the subordinator first, then I'll see a comma before I go on to finish the sentence. Okay, in a complex sentence, the clauses can come in either order. Okay, a complex sentence is a sentence that has a dependent clause or has an adverb clause. Same thing. An adverb clause, a dependent clause are the same thing. The clauses can come in either order. If the dependent clause comes first, we put the comma. And if the independent clause comes first, we don't have a comma. Adverb clauses are dependent clauses that indicate how, when, where, why, or under what conditions things will happen. Adverb clauses may also introduce a contrast. In fact, a dependent clause and an adverb clause are really the same thing. So when I went home when the game was over, I'm talking about when I went home. Why? She dropped out of the race because she was injured. In this clause, I'm talking about the reason why she dropped out of the race. A contrast. They won the game, although the score was very close. Here, the dependent clause is showing a contrast between the fact that they won the game. Adverb clauses are dependent clauses that indicate how, when, where, or why, or under what conditions things happen. Okay, and this is what we were saying before. An adverb clause can be either single word or phrase. Here, these are single words. It began to rain while we were playing. The game will be canceled if it rains. Okay, here the subordinator that introduces the adverb clause has more than one word. Now that. Here's a lot of words, in spite of the fact that. I have to practice hard now that I'm on the team. This is the subordinator. This is the subordinating clause or the adverb clause. Here's a long subordinator in spite of the fact that. And so here is your subordinate clause. or adverb clause. Okay, and adverb clauses begin with subordinating conjunctions. These are also called subordinating adverbs or subordinators or adverbial expressions. All those words mean the same thing. And remember that the adverb clause can also begin the sentence, and that case is followed by a comma. So here I have, now that I'm on the team, beginning the sentence, comma, in spite of the fact that he had been injured, comma. Because the adverb clause is beginning the sentence, you have the comma. Adverb clauses sometimes come inside independent clauses, and this kind of sentence is quite formal. Her ability when she got to high school was remarkable. It's more likely you would say her ability was remarkable when she got to high school. It's kind of unusual to stick it in the middle of the sentence. This way, you don't have to be able to do this yourself, but you need to understand what is happening in that sentence when you hear it. It means the same thing as, when she got to high school, comma, her ability was remarkable. Adverb clauses of time indicate when something happens. And here are some of the subordinators that you use: after, as soon as, before, by the time, once. Okay, these are all subordinators that begin adverb clauses of time. And here are some examples. The race will start as soon as everyone is in place. We always drink water before we start a game. I've been playing soccer since I was very young. I like to listen to music while I study. I get a headache whenever I drink alcohol. And remember that you can turn this around. You can always put the adverb clause at the beginning with a comma. So I have, as soon as everyone is in place, comma, the race will start. Before we drink the game, comma, we always drink water. Since I was very young, comma, I've been playing soccer. While I study, comma, I like to listen to music. Whenever I drink alcohol, comma, I get a headache. Okay, this is a little bit about once. Is a subordinator. It means starting from the moment that something happens. So, and it means as soon as. So she'll earn a good salary once she starts playing regularly. She'll earn a good salary as soon as she starts playing regularly. Once I have enough money, I'll get a car, or as soon as I have enough money, I'll get a car. This is a meaning of once that's different from saying I met him once, meaning one time. That's a different meaning of once. Okay. I can also use it as a focus adverb, which means in the past or not any longer. And it means, it's similar in meaning to used to. He once worked for a big company in Beijing means he used to work in a big company in Beijing. Laney was once a trade school that was part of the Oakland public school system. That's an interesting bit of history you might want to know. I think it was in the 1970s that it became a community college. In the past, Laney was a trade school that was part of the Oakland public school system. Okay, and then of course, you're probably most familiar with this, that once is also a noun that means one time. I've only met him once means I've only met him one time. And twice is a noun that means two times. I'm sure he knows about the meeting. I reminded him twice. I reminded him two times. These are nouns. Okay, then we have these adverb clauses of time that indicate when something happens. Until or till is informal. It's used more in conversation. Usually in writing, you'll use until. And a lot of people get kind of confused about how until works in meaning. I'll wait here until they arrive, or I'll wait there till they arrive. Until our kids are older, my wife isn't able to have a job. Till our kids are older, my wife isn't able to have a job. And another way to express that idea is, when they get here, we will leave. I'll wait here until they arrive. It means when they get here, we'll leave. And notice that you are using a present tense verb in the subordinate clause, even though you're talking about the future. We've talked about that before. I'm sorry, no, I'm talking about over here. Okay, in the subordinate clause, you're going to use the present tense, even though you're talking about future time. We have adverb clauses of place indicate where something happens. My major athletes are popular wherever they go. Or wherever major athletes go, they are popular. Professional sports are played where there are big stadiums. Where there are big stadiums, professional sports are played. And remember, where is kind of a confusing word because it can actually begin a noun clause or an adverb clause or an adjective clause. In this case, it's beginning an adjective clause. And then we have adverb clauses of reason to indicate why something happens. Because, as, now, that. Okay. She won the medal because she had practiced tirelessly. Since he didn't register in time, he can't play. And note that since has two meanings. It's used both in adverb clauses of reason and of time. Since Anna doesn't like sports, she refused to go to the game. Or he failed the course since he didn't pass the final paper. Here, in these sentences, since means because. It can also have time. It can also mean time. Barry has played sports since he was in high school means he began to play sports since he entered high school and he still plays sports now. The teacher has worked at Laney since 1998 means she began to work at Laney in 1988 and she still works at Laney now. When you're using since as a subordinator of time, you'll see it's generally associated with using the present perfect for a word that an action that began in the past and continues in the present or the future. Okay. Now let's go back and think also about since. Since can also be a preposition. So I can say, I've been studying since 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock is a noun, and in that sentence, since is a preposition, and 6 o'clock is the object of the preposition. Okay, as also has two meanings. It's used both in adverb clauses of reason and time. As he was badly hurt, he had to drop out of the game. As they lost the game as their star player had to drop out. In these sentences, as means because. When I say he set a world record as we were watching, as means when or while. As I was cooking dinner, the phone rang. While I was cooking dinner, the phone rang. When I was cooking dinner, the phone rang. All those three sentences mean the same thing. Okay, then we have adverb clauses of condition to indicate under what conditions something happens, like if and even if, only if, unless, in case. Okay, with if, you can look at a sentence like, you'll improve if you practice daily. Notice here how I've got the present tense in the if clause, even though I'm talking about future time. Even if means that the condition doesn't matter. The result will be the same. So even if he practices constantly, he still won't make the team. That means it's not going to make any difference whether he practices or not. He can't make the team. Only if means that only one condition will produce the result. So Biyun will make the team only if another athlete drops out. That means that she has only one chance, or he, I'm not sure if it's a male or female, but this person has only one chance to be on the team, and that's if another athlete drops out. In case means in order to be prepared for a possible future event. So if I say, we'd better take along some extra money in case we run into difficulties, means it's possible we'll run into difficulties, and in that situation we're going to need some money. Unless is one that people get confused about. Unless means that something will happen or be true if another thing does not happen or is not true. So unless you train a great deal, you won't be a champion. So another way to say this is, if you don't train a great deal, you won't be a champion. Is another way to say that. Note about only if. If the sentence begins with only if, the subject and verb of the main clause are inverted using question order and no comma is used. And this is a kind of formal expression, one of these things that you don't need to know how to form yourself, but you need to know what it means when you hear it. Biyun will make the team only if another athlete drops out. I can also say only if another athlete drops out, no comma, will Biyun make the team. I want the job only if they offer me more money. I can say only if they offer me more money do I want the job, no comma, and this funny inversion and question order of the words. And be careful, don't confuse even if or even though with even. This is a situation where two things look similar but are really very different. Even if and even though are subordinators. Even if they win this game, they won't be champions. He didn't do well in the course, even though he worked hard. But even is a focus adverb. Even my mother understands the rules of baseball. She even explained the rules to me when I was a kid. You see, this is not introducing any adverb clause here. The use of unless is something many people have trouble with. Okay, we talked about how this means, for example, she will be here unless she has to work late, means she won't be here if she has to work late. And notice again that with if or unless, when you when you're talking about future time in the adverb clause, you use present tense. It's a general rule that in a subordinate clause or an adverb clause, the verb is usually going to be present tense. So if I say, she won't be here, there needs to be an E there, here. If she has to work late, I have 2 stars to indicate that this is wrong. She won't be here if she will have to work late. We do not say that. Okay, adverb clauses of contrast make contrast with the idea expressed in the independent clause. And here are some examples: although, even though, though. Okay. He was selected for the team though he was quite young, or even though, or although he's quite young. All these sentences mean the same thing. I can move the adverb clause to the beginning with a comma, so then all of these sentences mean the same thing. Okay. While or whereas are used to make a direct contrast. He was selected for the team, though he is quite young. He was selected for the team even though he was quite young. Wait a minute. I'm going to have to fix this. Let me stop here. Now let's go back and look at this use of while. While can be a subordinator of time, or it can be about contrast. So when I say we ate while we were watching the game, that means that's happening at the same time. Here, while they lost the game, they played their best. It means the same as even though they lost the game, they played their best. Means the same thing. I'll put in a little equals there. And adverb clauses of contrast, while and whereas. While is used to make a direct contrast. While downhill skiing is very expensive, cross-country skiing is very cheap. Whereas means the same thing in this sentence. Whereas is formal and while is less formal, but they mean the same thing. Whereas is something you don't need to know how to use, but if you see it, you have to know it means this. Okay. Although is another thing you could use there. Yeah. Oops. Okay, I'm just having to type it in right. I'm sorry, getting messy at the end here. Give it a pause. So we have while downhill skiing is very expensive, cross-country skiing is very cheap. Means the same thing as although. Downhill skiing is very expensive, cross-country skiing is very cheap. Whereas downhill skiing is very expensive, cross-country skiing is very cheap. These all mean the same thing. The whereas is quite formal. Just some pictures of what we're talking about here. This is downhill skiing, the kind of skiing you usually think about. It's a very expensive sport because the equipment is expensive. You have to travel to do it usually. You have to ride on a lift. You need these lift tickets to get up to where you ski down from. So it's kind of a luxury sport. There's also cross-country skiing, which is basically just hiking on skis. This is a picture of my father when he was in his 60s, and he loved cross-country skiing. And this is my favorite picture of him, actually.